Oh, look at what the cat dragged in, everyone. Nice little article here from the New York Times. Look at this. In Neanderthals' DNA, ancient humans may have left genetic mark. Oh, looky here, looky here. Let's read what the cat dragged in over here, shall we? In 1997, scientists found the first scrap of Neanderthal DNA in a fossil. Since then, they have recovered genetic material, even entire genomes, from a number of Neanderthal bones, and their investigation have yielded a remarkable surprise. Today, 1 to 2% of the DNA in non-African, here we go, non-African people comes from Neanderthals. Okay, that genetic legacy is a result of interbreeding roughly 50,000 years ago. Okay, see now here's the bullshit, everyone. They're saying the breeding happened 50,000 years ago. Okay, between Neanderthals and the common ancestor of Europeans and Asians, recent studies suggest that Neanderthal genes even influence human health today, contributing to conditions from allergies and depression. Now check this out. First, these Caucasoids were coming up with fucked up dates, making up shit, trying to cover up your history, black man. They're trying to cover up your shit. Okay, that genetic legacy is the result of interbreeding roughly 50. First, they're telling some bullshit about 50,000 years ago. Now, do you think that's going to hold water? No, of course not. Because guess what? The Caucasoid, as usual, is going to change his story. And we're going to show you how Caucasoids lie. And when shit doesn't add up the way they want it to add up, then they start redefining terms and changing definitions. And here we go. Just as they announced to the world Africans left Africa, fuck Neanderthals, and created pale-skinned, stringy-haired, white Caucasians that are only 2 to 5% Neanderthal. See, that's bullshit right there, because if a black African left Africa, fucked a Neanderthal, the offspring would be 50% African, 50% Neanderthal. If you took this 50% African, 50% Neanderthal and braid it back with the African, it would be 75% African, 25% Neanderthal. So how did you produce a pale-skinned, stringy-haired Caucasian with only 2 to 5% Neanderthal DNA? Or, as according to this little silly-ass article, 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. How did you get a Caucasoid with only 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA? How did that happen, Mr. Neanderthal ape man? Would you like to explain the detailed process of how that happened? If you took a black African, made it with a Neanderthal, the offspring would be 50% African, 50% Neanderthal. Now correct me if my math is incorrect. Let's take this 50-50 black African Neanderthal hybrid, made it back with the African. What do you get? You get a 75% African, 25% Neanderthal. That did not produce a pale-skinned, stringy-haired, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Caucasoid with 1 to 2% Neanderthal DNA. Got it, Mr. Neanderthal ape man? Okay, let's continue on with this article, because we're going to cut through your bullshit, Mr. Caucasoid. Here you go. That genetic legacy is the result of interbreeding roughly 50,000 years ago. There they go, making up time points, and I'm going to show you how, when this shit, shit doesn't add up, they start changing shit. Here you go. Now scientists have found that the genes flow both ways. In a study published on Wednesday in Nature, a team of scientists reports that another instance of interbreeding left Neanderthals in Siberia with chunks of human DNA. There it is right there. They find human DNA in these Neanderthals. Now, in order for there to be human DNA in the Neanderthal, that means that the human has to predate the Neanderthal. But they're going to come up with some bullshit. Okay, this exchange, the scientists conclude, took place about, now they're changing the time to 100,000 years ago. Okay, yeah, that's a puzzling date, because a great deal of evidence indicates that the ancestors of today's non-Africans did not expand out of Africa until 50,000 years ago, 50 to 60,000 years ago. But now they're finding human DNA in Neanderthal, so now they got to change their bullshit. See, they got to change it. So there they are, getting busted. Now, the question is, how did this Neanderthal get human DNA? How did it acquire human DNA? Okay? That's the question. Now they got to sit here and change shit around, because this is what Caucasoids do, and I'm going to bust their asses like I always do. Now, here you go. Now, the question comes down to, this Neanderthal tested for human DNA. Now, how did a Neanderthal get the mitochondrial DNA of a completely different species, Mr. Neanderthal ape man Caucasian, Mr. Caucasoid? Okay? Over the last 5 years, astonishing advances in ancient DNA analysis have provided remarkable insight into Neanderthal genetics. As a result, the evolutionary connection between humans and Neanderthals has been severed. In other words, evolutionary biologists no longer think of Neanderthals as a transitional species linking the primitive bipedal primates such as Homo erectus to modern humans. There it is. Okay. This stunning conclusion comes from analysis of mitochondrial DNA recovered and sequenced from Neanderthal remains. DNA sequencing refers to the process of determining the exact order of the chemical building blocks, bases A, T, C, and G, that comprise DNA strands. Here you go. The average percent and locations of the differences between Neanderthal and human DNA sequence indicate that Neanderthals did not evolve into humans. So Neanderthals did not evolve into humans. How did this Neanderthal get human DNA, Mr. Caucasian ape man? Mr. Neanderthal ape man, Mr. Caucasoid? Okay? And see, these Caucasians, okay? The only way this can possibly happen is if there was a genetic engineering breeding program to produce new breeds of humans. Okay? Here you go. Researchers concluded the first studies on 3 distinct specimens that date between 30,000 and possibly 100,000 years in age from 3 locations in Neanderthal range, Germany, Russia, and Croatia. Okay, the DNA sequences obtained from all 3 Neanderthal specimens display remarkable agreement with one another. In fact, the DNA sequences vary by only 3 to 7%. Okay, this sequence diversity compares favorably to that measured for modern humans, 3 to 4%. Such similarity within the species, but dissimilarity between the species indicates that these animals, there you go, these animals, which is the Neanderthal, did not make any genetic, hence evolutionary contribution to modern humans. So they calling the Neanderthal an animal, because that's what the fuck it was. It was a fucking animal. Got that, Mr. Neanderthal, Caucasian ape man? And guess what this makes you, Mr. Caucasoid ape man? This makes you an animal. Which is why we see this crap right here. This is why we see this right here. Most unbelievable human tail. Boy, 21 years old, Moscow, functioning human tail. This is why we see this, man. Look at this, man. Now, you got these caucasoids out here trying to say that this is a fake video because it's on YouTube. Everything on YouTube is fake. According to these Caucasians, anything that doesn't go along with their chimp delusions, you know, they try to write it off as it being phony and being fake. But here's this dude right here wagging his tail like a dog. See this right here? Like a dog. He's wagging it. That's a functioning tail. See that? A functioning tail. Alright? Now, how did this Caucasian get a tail? How did that happen? Why are we seeing this? Why are we seeing Caucasians walking around like monkeys? Look at this right here. This family right here is walking around like monkeys. Why are we seeing this? Because they're hybrids. They're not human. And just as they play games with what a Neanderthal is, they're trying to give you these little silly illusions that the Neanderthal was human, was a human being. There it is right there. This right here is the propaganda. This is what they're trying to make you think that the Neanderthal looked like. It was a human being. Even though its mitochondrial DNA was a completely different species. Okay, this isn't what a Neanderthal looked like, because we know a Neanderthal didn't look like this. And there we go. There's the skull differences. Look at that elongated case. Look at the eyes at the top of the forehead. Look at that brow ridge right there. This was not a human being. This was a fucking ape. Okay? An ape. There it is. And this is a human cranium compared to the Neanderthal. There is no comparison. Look at the eye sockets, man. On top of the head, man. Right there. Look at that brow. That's the face of an ape. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at an ape. These are ape human hybrids. That's why the skull difference is completely different from that of a human. Because the Neanderthal was not a human being. It's a hybrid. It was genetically engineered. And these caucasoids are trying to cover that up. But you know, me, I'm going to come in and blow that shit to hell. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Blow this shit to hell, to bloody hell. And oh, looky here. They're up here toying around with, not only do they toy around with dates, they toy around with terms. They call the Neanderthal for century, for long time before they found the Neanderthal DNA in the human genome. They used to think the Neanderthal was this ape man. It was not human. See, and then once they found the DNA in the Caucasoid, now all of a sudden they got to humanize the Neanderthal. You know, they got to start changing shit around, just like they do right here with the definition of species. Okay. Now the dog and the wolf, they consider it to be a different species. Now, first they were saying the dog's the same species as the wolf. Then they said the dog and the wolf are not the same species, and now they're saying that the dog and the wolf is the same species. Now, why did they consider the dog as being a different species from the wolf to begin with? Well, why? It's because the dog has human DNA. See, the dog is part human. Now, I done went over this on multiple videos, but guess what? We're gonna go over it one more time. Let's get into exposing some more Caucasoid games here, okay? See, they come to find out that the dog has human DNA, and of course, as usual, what does the Caucasoid ape man try to do? He tries to cover up his tracks, cover up his bullshit, cover up all of the shit, and he wants his the one excuse they're always going to use is, oh, we contaminated with human contamination, okay? We contaminated the results for human contamination, okay? Here we go. Here you go, tells you, and they tell you what they did right here. Okay, we monitored the presence of 148 BP human specific and 152 dog specific mitochondrial DNA fragment and DNA extracts, as well as in negative control. The total number of human and dog template molecules were quantified using real-time polymerase chain reaction (PCR), and the sequence were characterized by the amplicon cloning and sequencing. Although standard, here you go, right here. Although standard precautions to avoid contamination were taken, we found that all 29 dog specimens contain human DNA, often at levels exceeding the amount of authentic ancient dog DNA. See? This is why they considered the dog as being a different species from the wolf, because the dog is a hybrid. It was created. It has human DNA. And of course, these scientists, they tested the dog. 29 different dogs, all of them tested for human DNA. And to try to explain this, they used all standard precautions. So when you're using standard precautions in today's terms, that means there is no contamination. There is no human contamination. There's no possible way you contaminated it. So why are all 29 modern dogs testing for human DNA at higher levels than the ancient dogs? Ancient dog bones that you found. Okay? It's because the dog is a created hybrid species, which is why you see you Caucasoids wagging tails, eating bloody rare meat. Because the dog DNA was engineered into your genome. Why? How do we know this? Because apes don't have tails, and this Caucasoid wagging his tail here, this guy right here wagging his tail, that's not the tail of a lemur, that's not the tail of a monkey, that's got to be a tail of a dog. Okay? Monkeys don't have tails like this. The lemur doesn't have a tail like this. This is the tail of a dog. This is why you Caucasoids are ravenous, running in packs. When you go to a rock concert, man, people act like ravenous dogs running in a big ass pack, eating bloody ass, rare ass meat. Okay? There it is right there. Alright? There we go. And see, just as these Caucasians like to sit here and play around, come up with propaganda, trying to explain away how these dogs have human DNA. They come up with the same kind of propaganda bullshit, trying to explain away how the Neanderthal was just another form of human, and they look like human beings, even though they have the fucking skull pattern of a fucking ape and the body ratios of a Bigfoot Sasquatch, which I've already went into. But I'm just showing you how they love to change terms around and come up with all this bullshit. Okay? And we're going to get into that. See, anytime there's evidence that comes up that threatens their little evolution theory, their little man come from apes theory, because they come from the fucking ape. But anything that goes against that, every human being on the planet comes from a fucking ape, they start changing terms around, start redefining words, and start coming up with new reasons. First humans left Africa 50,000 years ago. That was their little fucking nice little neatly typed timeline. Now they find that the Neanderthal has human DNA, so now they got to boost that back all the way to 100,000 years ago. See, they're changing dates, They're changing terminology, they're changing definitions, and Neanderthal used to be considered an animal, now it's considered human because the Caucasoid has Neanderthal DNA. And now they're coming up with a different term for what the word species mean. And we're going to get into that. Here you go. Why can two different species such as wolves and dogs breed? Okay, this is the Guardian. And we're going to get up into that. See, why can two different species such as wolves and dogs breed together and still be considered different species? And see, here's these Caucasoids over here changing terms around, redefining new definitions, coming up with a new definition for the word species. A species is real simple, everyone. If two animals can breed together and produce fertile offspring, then it's the same species. Plain and simple. So why are they deeming the dog as a different species as opposed to the wolf? Well, the reason why they deem the dog as a different species as opposed to the wolf goes right back to the here. Dog is part human. Plain and simple. Here you go. Dog is part human, and you can see it right there in the pyramid walls because our black African ancestors produced Anubis, a dog-human hybrid, right there. And of course, they got all these dogman encounters. You can just go to YouTube, type in dogman. You can listen to all the stories of dogman, the Michigan dogman encounters. They got like 100 over 87 episodes of different people discussing how they see this dog man walking around in the backwoods here in the United States. And we know these dog men exist because we got you Caucasoids walking around here with tails. We have all these dog men sightings by the thousands. And of course, the dog has human DNA. So we can conclude that our ancient African ancestors were creating dog men. Because there they are right there on the fucking pyramids, Mr. Caucasian man. Right there. That's Anubis. Human body, dog head, dog man. And this is your ancestor, Mr. Caucasoid. You was created from this Anubis. It's called Cynocephalia. Your ass was created from the dog. And this is why you motherfuckers are trying to cover this shit up. Which is why I'm going to come in and uncover it. And take your shit and rub it in your nose, Mr. Caucasian ape man. Rub it in your nose. Because, you know, we're going to shine a light on you. There's a reason why you're the most violent human on the planet. It's the reason why you motherfuckers go over the planet murdering off populations by the millions, committing genocide, because you're not human. You're a fucking ape man. This is Planet of the fucking Apes. And you're the fucking ape man. Got that? Alright. Now we're going to get back into how they fuck around with terms like species. Here they go, and here they are coming up with bullshit. Okay, if their offspring is fertile, then the animals are of the same species. If the offspring is sterile, they are of a different species. Okay, that's a simple definition of what a species is. If they have offspring and are sterile, then the two breeding species, the two breeding animals, are not the same species. If they have infertile offspring, a half dog, half wolf will always be sterile, as will a mule, half donkey, half horse, but a half Alsatian, half poodle should be fertile. Okay, according to Steve Jones in his book Almost Like a Whale, the international committee which rules on taxonomic problems like this has decided that dogs are really just domesticated wolves. Okay, well, how are they domesticated? How do you domesticate an animal? Okay, you splice it with human DNA. They have been artificially bred into funny shapes, and consequently the species designation Canis domesticus dog has been formally abolished. They're just a subspecies of Canis lupus wolf. The interesting bit of all this is that there is such a committee. Okay, now you see you got these scientists up here saying that the dog is a different species from the wolf. Now, why did they deem the dog a different species from the wolf? Again, the dog is part human. It's a hybrid. Just like now they're trying to say the Neanderthal was human. When in reality, the Neanderthal is what it really actually is. It's a hybrid. It was genetically engineered. It was created. And this Caucasian is created. And the God and creator of the Caucasian is the black African. Okay? Plain and simple. And, you know, I'm just cutting through all this Caucasoid propaganda because here they are trying to change around terms of what species is. And here they are changing shit around when it doesn't fit their bullshit. They're going to change terms around and come up with new definitions trying to say this animal is this different species from this animal, and then they change it around 2 years later saying that they are now the same species, you know, because they can't justify, you know, they're just doing whatever they can to try to cover up the fact that they are genetically engineered hybrids, and their history leads back to the fucking test tube. And here we go with the definition of evolution, Mr. Neanderthal ape man. Okay, evolution, the process by which different kinds of living organisms are thought to have developed and diversified from earlier forms during the history of the earth. And see, this definition of evolution is getting shot to hell. Shot to hell. And here you go, the gradual development of something, especially from a simple to a more complex form. So according to the Caucasoid, the ape magically transformed into a fucking Neanderthal that magically transformed into a human. And that's some fucking bullshit. And we know that's some fucking bullshit. And see right here, I got these silly Caucasians, you know, trying to argue, you know, that their faces didn't come from that of a lemur. But anyway, man, you know, like this Caucasoid's coming in here, you know, trying to just pot Durst or whatever the hell his motherfucking name is. This silly ass right here is trying to debate me, and of course he's getting his skull crushed into the concrete. You know, I'm just power driving his ass. You know, this stupid ass in here trying to debate this. But see, here's the point I'm bringing up. You know, how did Neanderthals evolve into humans if they already had human DNA, all the while its mitochondrial DNA was that of a completely different species? See, these are questions I ask these Caucasoids, and of course they never answered the question. They always try to sidetrack you with some bullshit. Okay, and here you go. Now, which one is it? Did humans fuck Neanderthals and produce Neanderthals with the mitochondrial DNA of a completely different species? See, these are questions I'll be asking these Caucasoids, and do you think I ever get an answer? Of course I don't get an answer. You know, I just get a bunch of bullshit. Typical Caucasoid, you know, their little fucking mind games, little fucking bullshit. They never answer the fucking question. I confront them with direct questions. You know, they come at me trying to call me a racist and all this other shit, when I clearly state in my videos that all humans on this planet spawn from the black African, which means everybody's a black African. It's just what you have is you had different variations of the black African. You have pale skin, stringy hair black Africans crossed with an ape, and this is what we call a Caucasian. See how this works, Mr. Neanderthal ape man? You're a black African, a pale skin, stringy hair black African crossed with an ape. Now, does that make you a different race? Or does that make you a different species, Mr. Neanderthal ape man? Is the issue here race, or are we talking about species? Which you like to redefine every 2 seconds. First you say the dog is the same species as a wolf, then you say the dog is a different species from the wolf, and now you're back to saying the dog is the same species as the wolf. Now which one is it, Mr. Neanderthal? Are you a black African or not? Because if you are a black African, then your ass is a black African spliced with an ape. Now, if you're telling me that you're not a black African, then you are the racist. You're the one who separated yourself from the black African. And now why are you separating yourself from the black African if your DNA ties back to the black African? Is it because you were crossed with a dog, a chimp, a ram, a lemur? Is this why you're separating yourself from the black African? Now if you're separating yourself from the black African, then this makes you the racist. See how this works, Mr. Caucasoid ape man? Now, if you're saying that you do come from the black African, then that means you're the same race as the black African, correct? Now if you're the same race, then how did you get the Neanderthal DNA, Mr. Caucasoid ape man? Well, it's real simple. Because your human origins, Mr. Caucasoid ape man, is the fucking test tube. Alright? And see, you know, I confront these Caucasoids, okay? You know, I ask them, did humans fuck Neanderthals, produce Neanderthals with the mitochondrial DNA of a completely different species? And how, and to top this off, if a black African fucked a Neanderthal, how did this produce pale skin, stringy hair Caucasians 6,500 years ago? Because you Caucasians magically popped up 6,500 years ago. And here we go. Here we go. Here it is right here. There you go. Modern Europe's genetic history starts in the Stone Age. Okay, Europeans as a people are younger than we thought. The new study suggests DNA recovered from ancient skeletons reveals that the genetic makeup of modern Europe was established around 4500 BC in the mid-Neolithic, or 6500 years ago. There it is right there. 6500 years ago. Okay, now let's walk through this. Let's walk through this, right? Black African leaves Africa, fucks in Neanderthal. Now, how did that end up creating pale skinned, stringy haired Caucasians who are only 2 to 5% Neanderthal who just popped up 6,500 years ago? Hmm? Here you go. You Caucasians didn't. So there was no time for you to just magically morph into a Caucasian. Now, how did this happen? And don't give me this crap because of the ice. African left Africa and, you know, magically got stuck in the fucking ice age and magically morphed into a Caucasoid, because you have Eskimos, and you have Siberians, and they're not white. These are Eskimos. They look like Asians. They've been living in the ice for thousands of years, and they have yet to morph into pale-skinned, stringy-haired Caucasoids. You know, they still kind of look like Asians, and they still got brown skin, and they live in the cold, and they haven't morphed into white people. See? And they're Neanderthal too. Here we go. Inuits live in very cold climates. Why do they have dark skin? And see? And here goes the Caucasoid changing shit around. See? To cover up his bullshit. He's saying that a black skinned African. Let's walk through this. Okay. They're saying that this black skinned, woolly haired African left Africa and magically morphed into a Caucasoid. Okay? And he's far darker than this Eskimo. See the difference there? There's the Eskimo. There's the black African. He magically morphed into a pale-skinned, stringy-haired Caucasian that is 2 to 5% Neanderthal. But this brown-skinned Eskimo, who's been in the cold for thousands of years, is far lighter than the black African, but yet has not turned into a pale-skinned, stringy-haired Caucasian. So every little fucking argument that come up just gets blown to hell. Because Mother Nature never lies, Mr. Caucasian Ape Man. Never lies. Okay? So how did you Caucasoids just magically appear 6,500 years ago? There it is. Just National Geographic. Google it. Google it, Mr. Caucasian Man. Modern Europe's genetic history starts in Stone Age. 6,500 years ago, you motherfuckers magically pop up. Now, how did this black African magically transform into a Caucasian who just popped up 6,500 years ago, who's only 2 to 5% Neanderthal DNA? I'm still waiting for one of you Caucasoids to come up with a logical answer and why this evolution theory is not bullshit. I'm still waiting for an answer. Okay? And when I hear one, you know, I just get a bunch of bullshit from you motherfuckers, man. You know, I get a bunch of shit, you know, never answer my fucking questions, like this little motherfucker right here. Of course, genetics end up in both if they interbred. That doesn't indicate that any engineering, just more evident that they interbred. No, what that shows is, motherfucker, if the Neanderthal has human DNA, that shows that humans predate Neanderthals, so that blows your evolution theory the fuck out the water, Mr. Caucasian Ape Man. And didn't no black African 50,000 years ago fucking Neanderthal and then produce pale-skinned, stringy-haired Caucasoids that just magically popped up 6,500 years ago who happened to only be 2 to 5% Neanderthal? Your ass was created. You're a genetically engineered hybrid. And we know who created you. The people that created you are the people that built the fucking pyramids. They were super advanced. And you Caucasoid ape man who stole everything out of Africa still can't build a pyramid. All your mathematics, all your sciences, everything you stole by raiding those pyramids. Or the Moors taught you, or the Egyptians taught you. That's where you got your knowledge from. Okay? So, I'm waiting for an answer, Mr. Caucasian Ape Man. I'm waiting for one of you Caucasoids to pop up and explain yourself. You know, you motherfuckers just magically popped up 6,500 years ago. What's your answer for that? I'll be waiting. You Caucasoids, genetic origins is the fucking test tube. Okay, you weren't bred by anything natural. Your ass is a spliced species. That's why you have obelisk in Kemet. The obelisk is symbolic of a man's penis. Osiris impregnated Isis without his penis. How do you impregnate a woman without a penis? Okay, it's called genetic engineering. Which means, Mr. Caucasian man, you're a spliced species. This is why you're a violent warmonger. This is why you people are fucked up. This is why you people are controlling. All you gotta do is look at that Donald Trump. He's up there calling people illegal immigrants and terrorists when his fucking ancestors are the fucking illegal immigrants coming over here on a fucking Mayflower from the fucking Caucasus Caves. You're a fucking illegal immigrant, and you're the fucking terrorist because you motherfuckers murdered off every indigenous person here in North America that we call Native Americans. You're a hybrid fuck up. You're the fucking problem on this planet. Got that, Mr. Neanderthal ape man? You're the fucking problem. You're not human. And that said, I'm up. Woo!